Hey there, Amit here from Analyze Canvas. We're going to do some intraday reporting using the GA4 API and the BigQuery Export. We'll start by dragging and dropping the Google Analytics block onto the canvas. Let's start with an API query. I'm going to pick the account I want, and we're going to use this demo account. All right, I'm simply going to pick date, and then just for your purposes to see how often and how quickly the data is being updated, I would select this date, hour, minute to go along with date. And then grab a few other dimensions that you like to see. I like to do event name and event count, as it's a nice query that tells you a lot about what's going on in a website. So let's call this intraday events. Now we only have the two options are start date till now, so it's a relative date forward. It's start date, and then every day it gets updated, it'll append the new data to it, or a fixed date range. And so we could fix this to today, but then tomorrow we're going to have to come back in and change this query. So instead of doing that, let's stay with the relative range. I'm just going to go back to the first here, and I'm going to make this a 1. This is the key, though, to also include today. That will make the API call include today's date. Okay. Back to the query for one more thing. Let's go to the additional data. Let's add the time zone so that you know what time zone your view is reporting in. And then let's ask for the sampling flags, the other flag, and the thresholding flag. In this case, I don't think we're going to have any of that, but just for your queries, it's good to be able to see if there's anything affecting your data. All right, we'll let the data load. Okay, so the data is loaded here. Now, in order to see the data, it's going to be in BigQuery, so it's unordered. If we want to see it ordered, we need to either add a sort block to the canvas, but we also probably want a filter block to drill in on today's date. So let's just grab those two and drop them onto the canvas. So let's first filter on today's date. We click on the center of the block to bring up the control. We then say date equals to today. There's the expression it's going to run. Okay, and then we can sort this. And let's sort by the date time value. So the date time is a string, but we're going to sort by that. There's the date time. Bring that over, and we'll say sort descending, and then wait for our preview. Now, in this case, this demo site doesn't have any data recorded for today, so we're not going to see it. But when you set up your site, your workflow, as long as you've had traffic for this day, and it's been a few hours into the day, you should see something here. Okay. Okay. And now we're going to try the BigQuery export. So we'll go to BigQuery. We'll select the e-commerce data set. We'll get the local date time. That'll be the actual timestamp in timestamp micros. We'll get date for the incremental load purposes, just to make things easy for us. We'll get the event name, and we'll get event count. Okay, now, oops, let's go back a second there. We're going to say intraday tables only. So this is only going to be the daily tables. It is not going to be only going to be the intraday tables. No, none of the daily tables. Okay. So intraday, and we'll start from today. We'll do 1 day on refresh, and then this is critical. Also include today, and then that's the date column we're going to do the incremental load on. Okay, data is loading, and then that should be just today's data only. So interesting that we definitely have some data from today that's not in the GA table, the API rather. So let's take a look, and yep, this is that data set. So 3607, we'll check here, same property. 3607, yeah, that's the same property. And yet, even though we have this set at today's date, right, we've got including today, we're going to refresh it again just to run this and see if it's going to give us some data now, because clearly there was some events today. They've already been recorded here, starting at just after 1 a.m. in the time zone of this property. Okay, so this is the best way to get your e-commerce, or rather your intraday data, using the BigQuery export. The API is just, it's unreliable. We don't know exactly how fresh the data is. In some cases, we will get data within a few hours. In some cases, like we're seeing right here, even though the data has been in the BigQuery export, it's not updating the API for today's date. Oh, look at that. So now we do have some data for today. So let's go ahead and check and see just how up to date it is. And there we go. So as of 4 a.m. seems to be the first hits that it's been recording, and only in that hour. Okay, so then let's see what we had here, and this is 13, so this is 1 p.m. So there's been a lot more hits. Let's see if we can find those 1 a.m. hits. Let's see, there's 4 a.m. hits. Okay, here now we've sorted it, and we've got right up to 1400 hours, so that's 2 p.m. So that's quite a bit ahead of the 4 a.m. It looked like it was the hits that were recorded previously, and this may just be a time zone thing, but a bit, yeah. So here's those 4 or 5 a.m. hits. There's these ones here, 4:30. That's 3 a.m. There's 04. There's the 4:30 hits. Yeah, 4:31. Rounded up to. Okay, so similar data sets, similar results, but as you can see, the intraday events table from BigQuery gives us a lot more data. All right, that wraps up this video. Check out the other videos on our channel, or send us a message at support@analystcanvas.com if you have any other questions. Thanks.